The conversation around who deserves the title of the greatest boxer of all time is heating up, and Oleksandr Usyk's name is increasingly at the forefront. Some argue that 4 of the top 5 fighters in history would be black, but Usyk's recent performances have forced a re-evaluation of that perspective. The Ukrainian's remarkable achievements in the ring have sparked debates among boxing legends, fans, and analysts, with many now placing him alongside or even above icons like Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather. Evander Holyfield, a 4-time heavyweight champion, has been vocal about Usyk's place in the sports pantheon, insisting that the 38-year-old belongs among the top 3 heavyweights ever. This claim, echoed by other boxing greats like Lennox Lewis and Roy Jones Jr., underscores the Ukrainian's meteoric rise and undeniable impact on the sport. Holyfield's admiration for Usyk stems from watching his progression through the heavyweight division. Usyk, who first made waves by unifying all 4 cruiserweight titles, made the bold decision to move up to the heavyweight class, a transition many doubted he could master. Competing as a heavyweight was one thing, but dominating the division seemed like a tall order for a fighter who wasn't a natural heavyweight. Yet, Usyk silenced his critics with a string of impressive victories over top-tier opponents like Derek Chisora, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, and Tyson Fury. These wins didn't just prove his ability to compete, they showcased his dominance, technical brilliance, and unrelenting work ethic. Holyfield, speaking to FightHub TV, emphasized that Usyk's accomplishments place him among the elite, arguing that few heavyweights in history could be ranked above him. For Holyfield, it's not just about longevity but about what a fighter achieves in the ring, and Usyk has proven himself time and again. Usyk's journey to the top of the heavyweight division is a story of defying expectations. After relinquishing his cruiserweight belts, he entered a division filled with larger, more physically imposing fighters. Many questioned whether his smaller frame and technical style could hold up against the power and size of heavyweights like Joshua or Fury. But Usyk's high ring IQ, exceptional footwork, and relentless conditioning allowed him to outclass his opponents. His victories over Joshua, a 2-time world champion, and Fury, the lineal heavyweight king, cemented his status as the undisputed champion. In May 2024, Usyk unified all 4 heavyweight titles by defeating Fury in Saudi Arabia, a feat that made him the first fighter to hold all 4 belts in the 4-belt era. Weeks later, he vacated the IBF title to allow an all-British clash between Dubois and Joshua, a move that demonstrated his confidence in reclaiming the belt later. Lennox Lewis, the last undisputed heavyweight champion before Usyk, has also thrown his support behind the Ukrainian. Lewis believes Usyk has already secured his legacy as one of the greatest fighters ever, placing him in the same conversation as Muhammad Ali and himself. He points to Usyk's ability to take risks, such as facing Dubois again for the IBF title, as evidence of his courage and ambition. At 38, Usyk shows no signs of slowing down. Lewis noted that the Ukrainian remains injury-free, moves well, and retains the speed that has made him so difficult to beat. This physical condition, combined with his mental sharpness, suggests Usyk could continue to dominate for another couple of years. Lewis acknowledges the risk Usyk takes by continuing to fight, especially against natural heavyweights like Dubois, who could use their size advantage early in a bout. However, Lewis believes Usyk's ring intelligence and adaptability make him a formidable opponent, even against bigger fighters. The debate over Usyk's place among the all-time greats isn't without its skeptics. Roy Jones Jr., another boxing legend, acknowledges Usyk's greatness but hesitates to crown him the greatest heavyweight ever. Jones argues that while Usyk's dominance in 2 weight classes, cruiserweight and heavyweight, is extraordinary, he faces challenges that larger heavyweights like Mike Tyson, George Foreman, or Lennox Lewis might have exploited. Jones points out that Usyk, as a built-up heavyweight, lacks the natural size and power of those fighters. He likens Usyk to himself when he moved up to fight John Ruiz for the heavyweight title, noting that both were complex little guys who relied on skill and strategy rather than brute force. Jones ranks Usyk among the top 10 heavyweights of all time, possibly even the top 5, but he believes matchups against powerhouses like Ernie Shavers would have tested Usyk's durability in ways we haven't yet seen. The comparison between Usyk and Floyd Mayweather adds another layer to the conversation. Mayweather, who retired with an undefeated 50-0 record across 5 weight classes, has long claimed to be the greatest boxer ever, often at the expense of Muhammad Ali. However, Mike Tyson, another heavyweight icon, has publicly challenged Mayweather's self-proclamation, calling him delusional for dismissing Ali's legacy. Tyson's frustration highlights a broader tension between boxing's old guard and its modern stars. While Mayweather's technical mastery and business acumen revolutionized the sport, many argue that his resume lacks the defining challenges that Usyk has faced in the heavyweight division. Usyk's willingness to take on all comers, regardless of size or reputation, contrasts with Mayweather's more calculated approach to opponent selection. This difference has led some, including Holyfield and Lewis, to elevate Usyk above Mayweather in the all-time rankings. Tyson's perspective on Usyk is particularly telling. When asked how he would fare against Usyk or Joshua in his prime, Tyson was candid about Usyk's dominance. He admitted that Usyk wiped everybody out, beating every opponent thought to have a chance against him. Tyson's admiration for Usyk is rooted in his ability to overcome the odds, a quality that resonates with Tyson's own career. However, Tyson's relationship with Mayweather reveals a different dynamic. Despite mutual respect, the two have never been close, with Tyson suggesting they are two different species of fighters. This divide underscores the generational and stylistic differences between the two, with Tyson's aggressive, knockout-driven approach contrasting with Mayweather's defensive mastery. Usyk's case for greatness is further bolstered by his versatility. His ability to dominate at cruiserweight, where he is widely regarded as the best ever, and then transition to heavyweight and defeat the division's biggest names is unprecedented. Holyfield, himself a former cruiserweight great, acknowledges the debate over who holds that title but leans toward Usyk due to his undisputed reigns in both divisions. The Ukrainian's technical prowess, characterized by precise footwork, angles, and stamina, has allowed him to outmaneuver larger opponents. His fights against Joshua and Fury showcased his ability to adapt mid-fight, countering their size with speed and strategy. Even in his rematch with Du Bois, a dangerous puncher, Usyk's preparation and ring generalship made the difference. The question of how Usyk would fare in Holyfield's era of heavyweights, against the likes of Tyson, Lewis, or Foreman, is a tantalizing one. Holyfield believes Usyk's work ethic and skill set would make him a formidable contender, even in that golden age of heavyweights. Lewis agrees, imagining a matchup between himself and Usyk as a clash of high ring IQs and contrasting styles. Both fighters see themselves winning, but Lewis acknowledges Usyk's movement and adaptability as key advantages. Jones, however, cautions that the sheer power of fighters like Foreman or Shavers could pose problems for Usyk, who has yet to face a puncher of their caliber. Still, Jones concedes that Usyk's complexity as a fighter makes him a unique challenge, even for the heavyweights of yesteryear. Usyk's future in the sport remains a topic of intrigue. At 38, he is approaching an age where most heavyweights begin to decline, yet his performances suggest he's far from finished. His plan to defend his WBA, WBC, and WBO titles for the foreseeable future shows his commitment to staying at the top. The rematch with Du Bois, set to take place at Wembley Stadium, is another opportunity for Usyk to solidify his legacy. A victory would make him the only two-time undisputed champion in the four-belt era, a feat that would further elevate his status. However, the heavyweight division is never short of challengers, and finding viable opponents is becoming a challenge. Fury and Joshua have had multiple chances to dethrone Usyk and fallen short, leaving the door open for new contenders to emerge. The broader conversation about Usyk's place in boxing history also touches on the evolution of the sport. Tyson noted that today's era is driven more by business and money than in his time, when fearlessness and raw competition defined the heavyweight division. Mayweather's influence, particularly his ability to turn boxing into a lucrative spectacle, has shaped the modern landscape, but Usyk represents a throwback to an era of pure competition. His willingness to take risks, fight anyone, and push his limits aligns more closely with the ethos of Ali, Holyfield, and Lewis than with Mayweather's calculated approach. This contrast fuels the debate over who truly deserves the title of the greatest. For now, Usyk's achievements speak for themselves. His victories over the best heavyweights of his era, combined with his cruiserweight dominance, make a compelling case for his inclusion among the all-time greats. Holyfield's assertion that Usyk belongs in the top 3, Lewis's comparison to Ali, and Jones's top 10 ranking reflect a growing consensus that the Ukrainian is a once-in-a-generation talent. While skeptics may point to his size or lack of longevity compared to some legends, Usyk's ability to overcome those limitations through skill, heart, and determination sets him apart. As he continues to defend his titles and chase history, the boxing world watches with anticipation, knowing that Usyk's story is far from over.